beginning of a new era, I guess you could say. Ozzie Guillen was there 8 years, seemed like he was there forever. And now Robin Ventura is the new manager. What are you looking for this season?
New manager, Robin Ventura, slightly different than Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie's down there in Miami making these comments about Fidel Castro. Robin didn't even feel obligated to give us his closer until yesterday. I think it's safe to say there'll be a few less headlines in Chicago this year. Early on, they're going to be fighting to find their identity, where they stack up in the AL Central. And when asked if there's any surprises about being a first-time manager, Robin told us how tired he was. Welcome to being a Major League manager.
Now, Ron Washington may be tired for a different reason. He's managed a lot of baseball in the last couple of years. The Rangers have gotten to the World Series twice, have not won it yet. Can they get back there again this year?
I think they can take an October nightmare and turn it into a dream. What gives me the most confidence is their offense. Their starting pitching's fantastic. The bullpen's got Joe Nathan now. But their offense, Josh Hamilton in the middle, Michael Young, a veteran, Ian Kinsler at the top, Adrian Beltre playing third and hitting, but unbelievable. Josh Hamilton, the MVP in 2010. Injuries last year cut his at-bat short. He's still got 25 home runs. Their offense will get them back to October. We'll see if they can finish it off this time.
And the guy who ignites that offense at the top of the lineup, Ian Kinsler, is standing by with a Buster Olney.
Ian, after the World Series last year, immediately after, you held a team meeting then, you held another at the beginning of spring training. What were some words that were said in those meetings that you took with you as you looked to turn the page into 2012?
After the World Series, honestly, I didn't take too much of it. I mean, you're exhausted, you're tired, you just lost the World Series in Game 7, so there's not too much that you can take from it. But during spring training, we all made it clear that we still have something to prove, and, regardless of our accomplishments last year, this year we basically have to prove ourselves again.
And tonight you get Gavin Floyd of the White Sox. Tell me about him and your preparation to face him.
He's a guy that if he's on, he's very tough to face. He's got a lively fastball, cutter off that with some occasional big curveball, and then a changeup. So basically for me, it's fastball, cutter, and I just got to make sure that I stay on that cutter.
Ian, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Buster, thank you very much. Well, Gavin Floyd is facing one of the most potent lineups in all of baseball here tonight, including, as Oral mentioned, the MVP in 2010, Josh Hamilton, healthy heading into a potential free agent season. Also, the hit machine, Michael Young, better than 200 hits again last year. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And in part by Gatorade. Gatorade knows it all begins within. Win from within. And by the 2012 Ford F-150. Built Ford tough. The Chicago White Sox and the Texas Rangers. The rubber match of this 3-game series tonight from Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Torrential rain earlier today, but it has cleared up a little bit. We've got baseball coming your way tonight as the Rangers take the field here in Arlington. You can join our companion broadcast at ESPN.com's Gamecast for advanced statistics and interact with Buster Olney on Twitter at @Buster_ESPN. You can also join the conversation at #SNB. You can also like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/ESPN Baseball Tonight. The new manager of the Chicago White Sox, the guy who the first thing he said in his interview is, "Are you out of your minds?" And he still got the job. Robin Ventura, of course, such a classy guy as a player, great player. 6 Gold Gloves, a couple of All-Star appearances. No prior managerial experience at any professional level. He's managing in the bigs, and here is the lineup that he's got out there tonight. With Alejandro Diaz leading it off, Gordon Beckham second, and Adam Dunn looking for a bounce-back season. Hit only .159 on the season, hit only .064 against lefties. He'll face a lefty tonight. The White Sox lineup is brought to you by Taco Bell. Not only a left-hander, but a young left-hander, Orel, who took some real strides last season in Matt Harrison.
His 4th year in the rotation out of spring training. The young man wants to get better. The 14 wins last year had the lowest run support of any of the Ranger starters. But the key for him this year, keeping those home runs down as we see there, and taking a little speed off his slider. It's too much like his cutter. He wants it more like an off-speed pitch, around 83 miles an hour instead of the 87 to 88 he threw it last year.
Defensively behind Harrison tonight, the plan was for Josh Hamilton to be the regular left fielder, but after a number of center field candidates didn't have great springs, Hamilton is the regular center fielder. David Murphy's going to get a chance to play a lot in left field. Nelson Cruz, of course, in right. Michael Young playing second base tonight. He made 14 appearances there last season. This is his first time in the field this season. And behind the plate tonight is Yorvik Torrealba, a night off for Mike Napoli. Ron Washington says, "I've got 2 quality catchers, and I don't want either one of them to sit for too long." Ready for baseball here in Arlington. Mark Wegner is the home plate umpire. Brian Knight's at first. Mike Winters at second. And Wally Bell is at third. Harrison is ready as Alejandro Diaz steps into the box. The center fielder, 27 years of age, from the Dominican Republic. Hey! And a called strike to get it started here tonight. Harrison, a 14-game winner a year ago. They are in on the corners, especially at third. Good slow breaking ball in there for a strike. 0-2.
Robin Ventura talked about going through their minor leagues last year and watching Diaz play in AAA and liking the way he went about his business.
The other thing you mentioned is he could see right away that he was going to be a big leaguer by the way he stood out on the field ability-wise, but then the way he went about his work. Robin just sat in the cage and watched the minor leaguers go through their work, and his work ethic really stood out to him.
He's got some speed. That's a little chopper foul. Diaz is going to get a chance along with Diane Viciedo, names you've heard for a couple of years within the White Sox organization, and both of them got a chance at times last year, and both of them will get a big opportunity this year. In some ways, it's considered to be, Terry, a rebuilding year for the White Sox. They chopped about $30 million off the payroll, traded away some familiar names, some veteran guys. I don't know if you could say they're starting over, but it's the beginning of a new era, I guess.
Every year teams are fighting for their identity or their personality early on, but no one more so than the White Sox, because I don't think they really know who they are yet.
Weekly hit to the right side, and the shovel to first to Harrison covering in time to get the out.
It's not an easy play. Left-hander falls off the mound towards third base usually, and you've got a fast leadoff hitter. He breaks his bat, and it's almost plays like a drag bunt, but they did a nice job really keeping their responsibilities. Harrison does not chase the ball, stays on line with the bag, knows he has to go directly there to the bag with the fast runner. He can't run up the line.
and a nice job keeping your eye on the ball and hitting the bag.
That's that play every team does 1,000 times in spring training, and when you do it right in the season, it makes every manager happy.
Here's Gordon Beckham, the second baseman. And Beckham takes a little bit high for ball one. Beckham now in his 4th year with the White Sox. Played good defense last year, but as you can see, really struggled. Took a step back with the bat. And this is Terry, the kind of the bright light of the organization a few years ago. A guy that had future star written all over him.
And he struggled against left-handers more than he struggled against right-handers.
What do you guys see when you watch him swing the bat?
With Gordon Beckham, I think that, his swing has gotten a little long. I think, he had such early success that people then started to really bear down on him, so he didn't get the cookie fastballs when he was behind in the count. They started to actually pitch to him through the whole count, and he has to make an adjustment. I think the key adjustment is to be mentally aggressive and not be in between. So many hitters, good young hitters or older hitters, they get in between when they slump, and he needs to get to a point where he's aggressive again.
Pops up the 2-2 in foul territory. Mitch Moreland, the first baseman, makes the catch. So Moreland involved in both defensive plays here as Beckham checks out the replay of the pitch up on the giant video scoreboard here in Arlington. 2 down and nobody on for Adam Dunn. And Dunn, coming into last year, had been probably the most consistent power hitter in the game over the last 7 or 8 years. Had hit 38 or more home runs 7 years in a row. Came to the White Sox, DH'd, and just never got going. 159, 11 homers.
Well, their rebuilding year will go a lot quicker if this guy can get back to his normal stats. It can come in a hurry because it'll be like a huge free agent signing if he can come around, and especially against left-handed pitchers.
Used to do a pretty good job against them, but was baffled by them last year.
There's no way to get around it. 2011 was just a rough year for him all the way around. He's got to be one of the happiest guys to turn that page on the calendar and get into this season.
And had a good spring and off to a good start through the first couple of games. And Robin Ventura hitting him third, showing a lot of faith in him.
And it's a lot of strikeouts for a number 3 hitter, but I think Robin's trying to instill that confidence early.
This is a place where Matt Harrison, when Dunn has struggled against lefties, it usually is the high fastball or the slower breaking ball, and he's got the curveball, and he's also working on that slower slider. It's a good pitch right here.
Got him with an off-speed pitch to strike him out and end the inning. Harrison gets done to get the White Sox in order in the top of the first. Rangers ballpark at Arlington as Texas gets ready to come up against the Chicago White Sox. Let's take a look now at the Rangers starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. And it is a dangerous lineup from top to bottom. The leadoff man, AT Kinsler, is DH tonight, had a 30-30 season, became just the 12th major leaguer ever to have multiple 30 home run, 30 stolen base seasons. And Josh Hamilton, the MVP 2 years ago, battled some injuries, didn't have quite as good a season last year, but still obviously one of the most talented and dangerous hitters in the game. On the mound tonight for the White Sox, Oral right-hander Gavin Floyd.
Well, Gavin Floyd had another solid year, even though it was a losing year at 12 and 13. Didn't get much run support. It was a tough year for the White Sox, but his key to success now is the fact that he likes to pitch backwards. And backwards meaning he starts hitters off with slower stuff, and that should be effective if he can get it over the plate against these Texas Rangers, because they feast on fastballs.
Faced the Rangers twice last year and pitched very well against them. An ERA well under 1. Kinsler leads it off, and he takes inside, ball 1.
And Ian Kinsler is not opposed to getting that first fastball he likes and hijacking it right out of here.
Got under it.
He tried.
Yes, he did.
Shallow left field for Viciedo, 1 down. A look at the defense for the White Sox. Alex Rios, who played a lot of center field last year, is back in right field this year, where he's more comfortable. Viciedo in left, Diaza in center. Gordon Beckham, as we mentioned, struggled with the bat, but played good D last year. Committed only 8 errors at second base on the season. And the longtime White Sox catcher, A.J. Pierzynski, is the starter tonight behind the plate, catching Gavin Floyd. A.J. signed through the end of this season. Here's Elvis Andrus. Hit .279 last year, stole 37 bases. And what you hear about him, and Ron Washington echoed this sentiment when we asked him about Andrus before the game, he's maturing, he's learning, he's executing better. Now, he messed something up yesterday, Wash told us, so, but practice, if it doesn't make perfect, it makes better. Hits it sharply out to short, speared by Ramirez, who gets him 2 down. But such a talented player, Andrus, and again, a lot of upside for him as he continues to grow into the role. 2 down, nobody on, and that's going to bring up Josh Hamilton. A lot of talk around the Rangers heading into this season. Josh Hamilton's a free agent at the end of the year if they don't get something done between now and then. And will the two sides find a way to make it work and keep him here in Texas?
An ambush hitter like Kinsler, he loves that first pitch fastball. Oh, there's no grass growing under his feet in that batter's box. That bat is coming off the shoulder in a hurry.
Well, the numbers back you up. Swung at the first pitch 46% of the time last year, the highest percentage in the American League.
It's that little cutter, Dan, from Floyd. He likes to use that. When we talked about him pitching backwards, that's one of the breaking balls or the slower moving fastball that he uses.
Going to be interesting to see as the season goes along, if they talk contract, if they get it done. The relapse that Hamilton had in the offseason is obviously on the minds of the Rangers and on Hamilton, and how comfortable the Rangers are investing long-term in him. The talent undeniable. Slow roller to second. Good play by Beckham. And like the White Sox, the Rangers go in order in their first at bat tonight. Top of the second here in Arlington. Dan Shulman, Terry Francona, Oral Hershiser, and Buster Olney with you. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. No score between the White Sox and Rangers, who have split the first 2 games of this series and their season, as Matt Harrison faces veteran first baseman Paul Konerko. First pitch swinging, roller out to second. Michael Young gets a play on to first, 1 down. Harrison, if you dig inside the numbers a little bit, a lot to like about the young left-hander. He holds runners well, gets a lot of ground balls, induced 30 double play ground balls last year. And he started Game 7 of the World Series last year. Now, he didn't win it. He didn't pitch well in that game. But Ron Washington, as we saw through October of last year, had a lot of confidence in Harrison all the way through. Alex Rios looks at a strike. Here's another guy, if he can get back to his normal numbers, it would go a long way toward the White Sox becoming a better team. Grounded to third. Tricky hop for one of the best in Beltre. 2 down.
Adrian Beltre down there is a vacuum cleaner. He's a little unorthodox at times, especially after he catches the ball. He does a good job getting in front of this, using 2 hands down the line, but he uses his arm to throw people out. He doesn't use his footwork. You see, he was very nonchalant with the footwork because he knows he has a gun.
So 2 down in the inning, 5 in a row set down by Harrison to begin his night. And here's Pierzynski, who hit .287 a year ago for the White Sox. Big breaking ball into the knees for a strike.
And you can see with the facing the left-hand pitcher how much the center fielder, especially, they're shading him to left field. They're not expecting him to pull this ball in the air.
If he pulls one down into the right field corner, old AJ is going to have to run 270 feet.
He'll still only get a double.
Yeah, he may pull up in second.
Pops him up down the left field line. Tricky play, no play for Beltre over near the seats.
He hits one down in the right field corner. He runs so fast you'll still be able to read that name. It'll feel like it's just standing still. AJ's in for an interesting day because behind the plate, Gavin Floyd gives up a lot of stolen bases. And the Rangers like to run and be aggressive. So once we start to get a little traffic on the bases, his bat's not the only thing they're going to be worrying about. They're going to be worried about his arm.
You know, all the White Sox people are talking about how Gavin Floyd worked on a slide step, and we'll find out, like you said, we're going to find out quickly because they're going to try to run right when they get on.
Again, the 1-2. Pulled foul as Pierzynski continues to battle Harrison. Tough to strike out. Hits for a good average. About to get the 8th pitch of the at-bat. And another foul ball. Oral, as a pitcher, you've thrown him everything you've got, and he keeps fouling him off. What do you do now?
Well, everything that he's fouling off is slightly up and slightly too close to the strike zone for me. I think that he can still throw him a kind of a sweeping breaking ball because AJ is in swing mode. Swing mode meaning when the ball's coming out of Harrison's hand, if it's anywhere close, AJ's swinging. We're seeing that. So once you know a hitter is in swing mode, make a ball look like a strike, but end up a ball. AJ did a good job. That was a well-executed pitch. It made it look like it was going to be a knee-high strike, ended up down in the dirt, and AJ just stayed with it and hit it barely off the end of the bat. He just collapses and says, all I want to do is make contact. Good swings out of the question now, and he just barely caught it.
That's why he only struck out 33 times last year. That's an amazing stat.
Some hitters just would rather swing and miss, but AJ's one that says, I don't care. I'm going to try and put a little bit something on it. A lot of guys don't break down like that.
11th pitch of the at-bat. To center field and caught. Hamilton racing over. Harrison finally wins the battle. Hamilton with a nice catch out in center field as Krasinski and the White Sox are retired. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by MLB 12 The Show. So real, it's unreal. And by Dodge. Visit your local Dodge dealer today. Hang on, boys. Wow. We drove by that amusement park on the way home from dinner last night, and I know for two of the three of us, that's as close as we need to get. Right?
That looks like our drive to the ballpark.
Only when you're driving.
Bulldog, if you want to check that out and let Terry and me know how it went.
I love roller coasters.
You're on your own. Here's Adrian Beltre. Just turned 33 yesterday. Had a big season for the Rangers last year. 32 home runs, 105 RBIs. And as we've already seen in this game, he can really pick him down at third. One of the best. Good breaking ball from Floyd, 2-1.
And he loves playing. If you want to make him angry, tell him he's not playing. He never wants a day off.
He must have loved managing that kind of player.
Ground ball to third for out number one. Well, what I saw when he played in Boston, if you want to make him mad, is have Victor Martinez go over and rub his head after he hits a home run. That made him mad.
Yeah, that would do it too.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
He just doesn't. He laughs, but I don't think he really does like it. He gets under his skin a little bit.
He was with the Red Sox in 2010. Prior to that, the Mariners for a few years, and the Dodgers before that. Here's Michael Young. And just another typical Michael Young season a year ago. Hit .338, 213 hits, tied for the most in the American League with Adrian Gonzalez. Drove in over 100 runs. What's the book when you guys sit there on the other side of the field as a manager or pitching coach? What's the book on how to try to get this guy out?
You know he's going to get his hits. You try not to let him be extra base hits. When he's comfortable hitting the ball the opposite field, that's when he really becomes dangerous. Early in the season, sometimes before he gets to that comfort level, you can get him out.
High and deep to right center field. Diaza back about 390 feet away to make the catch for out number 2.
It's about a month and a half early. Fly ball will be in the jet stream here. And Michael hits the ball the opposite way very well, but he's the one that's going to help him turn the page to 2012, that's for sure. That's the leader, the unannounced captain of this team.
Oral and I were both with him in 2002 when he was a young kid playing second base, and he earned the nickname Slick Eddie. Slick because of his defense, and Eddie because he looks like Eddie Munster.
There's Nelson Cruz. How did he feel about that nickname?
He was just so-so with it.
Yeah. You couldn't get away with that now. That's 10 years ago. You might have gotten away with it.
You know what? He still goes by it.
Cruz 29 home runs last year.
I know. I got the wrong song. I can't remember the song from
You got the Addams Family.
I know. I got the Addams Family, but I'm trying to think what was the Munster song. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not doing that one on the air. I know. They're talking to me in my headset about the song. I'm not going to sing that.
Remember last year in the playoffs talking to Ron Washington, and he was talking about Cruz, and now he wasn't swinging the bat very well, but he wanted to keep running him out there because he thought at some point he would impact the game, and boy, was he ever right.
Just ask the Tigers. He gets under it, skies one on the right side of the infield. Beckham there, and the inning is over. Scoreless at the end of 2 here in Arlington, right next door to that.
A new outfit on the frontier called the Texas Rangers bought a load of arms from an East Coast gunmaker named Samuel Colt to defend the West. They put a star on their chests and rode with wide open, broke the stills, caught Bonnie and Clyde, and all the while the gun was on their hip. 165 years later, the Rangers went back east because they know it's about rearming.
The Texas Rangers, the winners of the Darvish sweepstakes in the offseason, and he will make his regular season major league debut tomorrow night in this ballpark against the Seattle Mariners. Alexi Ramirez leading off the third for the White Sox against Matt Harrison in a scoreless game. Ron Washington told us before the game that Darvish got better and better over the course of the spring in every conceivable way. The way he pitched in games, his preparation, his attitude, in every way. And in one big difference, Terry, from what you went through, it sounds like with Daisuke Matsuzaka, is that Darvish is a lot further along in terms of the language and being comfortable in the culture and so forth here in America.
And that is such a huge aspect. The Major League game is going so fast anyway. Can you imagine being out there and not speaking the language?
The other thing that they said, that he's adjusted very well to the American style of baseball, not pitching once a week, doing the side works the way they're done over here, 1 or 2 in between starts, not asking for extra work.
2-2 is sent foul down the left field line. For more, let's go down to Buster Olney.
You were talking about his adjustment to the language. Derek Holland, one of the other Rangers pitchers, told me that sometimes Darvish will hear a teammate say a certain word and he'll repeat it. And, of course, sometimes it's a bit colorful.
Well, that's as old as baseball itself, isn't it?
Yeah, you could be from Western Pennsylvania. Pull that one off.
There's Holland, just signed a big 5-year deal in the offseason. He's right now with the number 2 spot of the rotation. Harrison number 3. Darvish technically number 4, although, eventually it just becomes about how well you're pitching. And maybe they'll split up the lefties eventually and put Darvish in between Holland and Harrison. Just missed full count. We asked Washington before the game, how many pitches does Darvish have? He said 8. What do you think, Earl?
Well, the Far East has a tendency to take a fastball, a cut fastball, a sinking fastball, a 4-seam fastball, and make them 4 pitches. Where here it's just a 1, and you do what you want with that.
You try to do your homework as an organization, and I'm sure the Rangers did. But there's just certain aspects that you just can't account for. I mean, when Daisuke came to Boston, we found out in a hurry that the different baseball bothered him a lot. He couldn't throw a split with the American baseball. The Japanese baseball is more supple. It's a little bit smaller, and it really bothered him.
And you were talking to us about Hideki Okajima, another Japanese pitcher who pitched for you in Boston. And something that we wouldn't even, I guess, think of is the travel bothered him because the flights are so much longer, right?
We would make that West Coast trip, and he would come in and say, I'm not ready to pitch, I'm tired. And I would say, well, you didn't pitch for 3 days. He goes, it's too long a trip.
Too long. Wow. Ramirez strikes out for out number 1.
So this was only the West Coast trips that he came in the office, or did he stop coming in after you?
No, he only came in once.
He only came in once.
So you threw him out there for 4 innings that night?
It's just things you don't think about that impact how guys feel.
The season is longer. The baseball is different.
But their longest road trip is what? 40 minutes?
Yeah, most of them are on those bullet trains.
Yeah.
And the starting pitchers, most of the time they pitch and they go back home.
I was going to say, even on a road trip, you might even go back home.
They do. They do a lot.
Pitch once a week instead of once every 5 days. Because there are 6-man rotations in Japan with an off day built in every single week. So a starter would pitch once every 7 days. Here, it'll be once every 5 or 6 days if there's an off day. Diana Viciedo, the batter. He's jammed, but fights it off at a right center field, a base hit. So what exactly are the Rangers getting in Darvish? Well, they're getting a guy who has had a tremendous number of accomplishments in Japan. Look at the ERA. Look at the win-loss record. 2-time Pacific League MVP. Pitched very well in the World Baseball Classic. $51 million just for the right to talk to him. $51 million going to his team in Japan. 6 years and $60 million. The contract for Darvish. Do you guys have any sense of what his upside is, what we're looking at here?
Scouts think it's the best stuff to come from the Far East, including Nomo and Daisuke. And I'll tell you what, in watching him pitch, he gets people out in the strike zone. It's not people that chase the ball, ride it up, hope he swings at my split finger, because the big leaguer actually makes you throw the ball in the strike zone. And as I've scouted him, and other scouts, of course, that's what he does very well.
Eduardo Escobar, the batter, getting a start at third base tonight. Brent Morel started at third the first couple of games for the White Sox. Hitless so far. Escobar in there tonight. Ground ball to short. The second one to first. Not in time. So 2 down and a batter at first, a runner at first rather, here in the top of the third. Another aspect, and Terry, you know this very well from your time with Daisuke Matsuzaka, is with a celebrity as big as Yu Darvish, and that's what he is in Japan. There will be tomorrow night. John Blake, the PR director for the Rangers, told us there will be 200 members of the media who will be at this game from Japan tomorrow night, and every day all season long they're going to want something from Yu Darvish.
Or the pitching coach or the manager.
Yeah.
Right? They want to document everything they do and send it back to Japan. There's so much interest. Piazza
up again. Sharply hit out to second. Nice stop by Young, and the inning is over. No runs, a base, and a man left to the bottom of the third in a scoreless game in Arlington. Back to Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Bottom of the third, no score here in Arlington. The White Sox and the Rangers on Sunday Night Baseball. Gavin Floyd on the mound for Chicago, and David Murphy, the left fielder, leads it off for the Rangers. Murphy will be followed by Yorvi Torrealba and Mitch Moreland, the bottom third of the order. Out is what you may have heard Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire, say, just a little bit outside for ball 2.
Peter, let's just leave Dan on his own this inning. We've got some work to do up here.
There is some work to be done up here.
We got a little work to do.
Somebody's decided that we're hungry, and they're going to take care of that. This is called the boomstick. Is that right?
Yeah.
It needs to come with a beach towel.
It's huge.
Oh boy. So does that.
Murphy. Home run into the second deck in right field, and the Rangers lead.
He hit that with a boomstick.
Dave David Murphy with a no-doubter to right field, and Texas leads 1-0.
David Murphy has wanted a chance to play every day for the longest time, and he wants to make the most of this opportunity so bad.
Yeah, the outset of spring training, it sounded like Hamilton might play left. They were auditioning a number of players for center field, including one who's still on the team, Craig Gentry, is a backup outfielder. When none of them played well, they moved Hamilton back to center and basically said to Murphy, all right, I guess we'll give you another shot.
Every time they stick him out there, he's reliable. But he's, a little bit of a tweener with his power and his speed, but he knows how to play the game.
There's Torrealba, the catcher. And quickly an 0-2 count. 11 home runs a year ago for Murphy. Even when he's gotten a chance to play, it's almost exclusively been against right-handed pitching. But he might get a chance to play against lefties as well. Could come out for defense if they're up in the late innings. Hamilton sliding to left, Gentry going in center. By the way, Terry, it was less than an hour ago when you turned to me and said, I'm just going to have a salad tonight, and I can't eat like we've been eating the last few days.
Mine's almost
one
gone.
Boomstick, and that's all ancient history.
I got bad willpower.
You got no willpower. In the dirt, 2-2. This is serious.
Not only is this going to be bad for me, you guys are going to be not happy I eat this either.
A 2-foot-long hot dog with sauteed onions, chili, cheese, and jalapenos. We probably could have split one.
Yeah, I think so.
Speak for yourself.
Outside, full count. So you're going to get a chance to sample. Now you've seen baseball from a whole different perspective, Terry. You're going to get a chance to sample food from the different ballparks. We got garlic fries coming your way in San Francisco. Got to have those.
Just want to make sure my pants fit.
Torrealba thought it was inside, but it's called strike 3.
A little strikeout right there, but they've gotten some power earlier in this inning. David Murphy, when you said a tweener, he takes a little 83-mile-an-hour cut fastball down the middle of the plate, and the tweener hitters that are between speed and power, when they get a cookie, this is why he's getting a chance to play every day. He doesn't miss it very often. In the upper deck.
So 1-0 Texas here in the bottom of the third. Curveball low, ball 1 to Mitch Moreland.
And as anybody that's been here knows, there's a jet stream to right field, but that didn't matter. No, that ball's going anyway.
Moreland playing first, batting 9th. 16 home runs a year ago. Popped up in a shallow left. Look out. Ramirez, the shortstop, goes back to make the catch. 2 down as we send it down to Buster.
Guys, in the last week of spring training, there was ongoing negotiations between Ian Kinsler and the Rangers, but ultimately those talks stopped. Now, they could pick up because there's a lot of momentum on both sides. They want to get this deal done, a long-term deal, maybe 5 or 6 years. The standard in the industry for second baseman, Dan Uggla's 5 years, $62 million deal.
Well, you got to believe Kinsler will get at least that much, wouldn't you think? If Uggla,
I think he's got to get more.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to try and get market value and not test the market, but no hometown discount. He's a little different hitter than Dan Uggla. Dan Uggla's kind of an all or nothing, and he proved it last year with how big he slumped, and then he went on his long hitting streak to recover. Ian Kinsler's a more consistent player. And defensively, I think Kinsler's far and away better.
And the 30 stolen bases he's going to give you, too. He's an offense. He's a force all over the field.
Now with Kinsler and Hamilton, a couple of big situations looming out there right now for the Rangers, who have gone from bankruptcy into being in a great financial situation in just a couple of years. And a lot of that is a new local television contract that's on the horizon. And this is happening for a lot of teams now. The Angels, the Dodgers is coming just a couple of years down the road. So Nolan Ryan, president and CEO.
There's an old finesse pitcher.
Yeah. Also Mike Napoli, Colby Lewis pending free agents. A lot of decisions for the Rangers to make, but they can compete with most of the heavyweights financially right now as Kinsler draws the walk. ESPN's coverage of Major League Baseball continues tomorrow night and Wednesday night. First at 7 Eastern tomorrow night on ESPN. Monday Night Baseball, the Brewers and the Cubs. Then Wednesday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. It'll be the Marlins taking on the Phillies. Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA, and Wednesday Night Baseball coming your way as well. Wednesday night, it looks like Josh Johnson and Roy Halladay, the pitching matchup. And for the Cubs today, and we can continue to see, guys, a ton of great starting pitching performances so far. Jeff Samardzija went 8 2/3, struck out 9 today for the Cubs, who were clinging to a lead. Carlos Marmol came in, walked the first batter, but then got the next one on a pop-up to get the last out and record the save as the Cubs salvaged the final game against the Nationals. Elvis Andrus is swinging a miss.
And we'll see quickly here how Texas wants to play this. They never, when they have a lead, they're going to push on the bases. And with Gavin Floyd's reputation, it shouldn't take too long for an attempt at stolen base here.
You can see a very good percentage for Kinsler in his career. Time called just prior to Floyd delivering the pitch.
Well, you could see right there, he held the ball, Gavin Floyd, on the mound for a long, long time, that he really is conscious about Kinsler over there. One of the ways to improve your defense against the running game is not only to get quicker to home plate, but to vary your times to the plate of when you deliver the ball. So come set, go. Come set, hold, wait. Come set, step off. The last time he came set and he waited a long time.
Diving back in, Kinsler.
Those signals can come from your catcher, which can get them from the bench. They can come in your own mind. You decide you want to hold the running game. And I think a guy like Gavin Floyd, he had 25 attempts, 23 steals against him. I think it's coming from AJ trying to control the game.
1-1.
Well, he's noticeably making an attempt to not pick up that leg and just give it a slide step. So if they do run, at least they give AJ a chance to throw him out.
Yeah, he's a little quicker than last year, that's for sure.
But now you make a decision. Do you put all your marbles in trying to stop this stolen base and maybe leaving a pitch that Elvis Andrus can hit in the gap?
Not going. Check swing on the appeal. He went. 1-2 now on Andrus.
You saw right there, that is typically what you will get when you go quick. He came set and immediately went to home plate after stopping. He did not hold or check the runner or pick off. And you get a flinch swing out of the hitter, especially when you've been holding the ball for a while in the prior pitches. Doing two things very well. He's varying his deliveries to the plate and when he goes, and he's keeping the ball down. So he has worked really hard on this because he has a completely different statistics when he's in the windup than when he's in the stretch as far as his effectiveness on the hitter, because he leaves the ball up a lot last year.
2 balls, 2 strikes to count on Andrus. Josh Hamilton on deck should the inning continue.
This is the action pitch, Dan. 3-2, you know he's going. 2-2, if you're stealing, this is the time to go.
He is not, and it's fouled off by Andrus. How important Oral 2 is getting strike 1, which Floyd did, and then on the 1-1 pitch he got to 1-2. How important is that to keeping Kinsler at first base?
Well, the most important thing is he's clicking up his delivery. Getting a strike with 2 outs is not as big a deal, because once you get behind in the count as a hitter, your runner sometimes wants to run to get a fresh count for him the next inning, even if you get thrown out. But he's down around 1-1-5, 1-2, so he has definitely quickened up his delivery.
And he gets Andrus to end the inning. The Rangers, though, do get the first run of the night. David Murphy leads off the inning with a bolt into the second deck in right field. And Texas leads the White Sox 1-0 at the end of 3. Top of the fourth inning, a 1-0 lead for the Rangers. Matt Harrison facing Gordon Beckham. He takes an off-speed pitch in there for a strike. Beckham, Adam Dunn, Paul Konerko coming up for the White Sox against Harrison, who has given up just 1 hit through 3 innings. No walks, a couple of strikeouts. There's the second hit of the game for Chicago as Beckham lines one into left field. Big turn, accelerating into second and in there. A bobble by Murphy, and Beckham rounding the bag with his head up takes second on the play.
And all spring, you talk to your base runners about taking an aggressive turn, and because Beckham took the aggressive turn, a little bobble like that turns into an extra 90 feet.
It has been scored a double. As Adam Dunn is the batter. Although Beckham clearly was slowing down, he saw the play in front of him and then accelerated.
But look at this turn. He's got his head up. He knows where the ball is, and all it takes is a little bobble, and he glides in, and he made it easily.
It's a good base running by Beckham, and a man in scoring position with nobody out. Somewhat of a shift on against Adam Dunn. Young is way over to his left. Andrews playing up the middle. Beltre can only stray so far from third because Beckham's at second. Out in front is Dunn.
And this is where, regardless of whether Adam Dunn makes an out, you'd like it to be a productive out. You know, if he hits that ground ball to second base, just to move the runner, just put the bat on the ball and pull it in this situation.
Of course, even when Adam Dunn is going well, as you said earlier, Terry, there are a lot of strikeouts. He uses the defense as infrequently as anybody in baseball because most of the time it's going to be a strikeout, a walk, or a home run.
Well, and that's part of the package. But you look up at the end of the year and you hope he has 100 RBIs.
And this is part of rebuilding yourself, rebuilding the team, is making a productive out right here. And even if he doesn't get a hit, just to get the runner over.
And he does it. Yep. Pulls it down to first to advance the runner. Well, we have now seen on our tour across America this week, the 4 games we've done in 5 days, we have seen both of the new managers who have no prior managerial experience. Robin Ventura, the manager of the White Sox. Oral, you said earlier he's one of the best teammates you ever had. You played with him on the '99 Mets. What makes you say that?
One of the top 5 teammates. The way he concentrates, the way he realizes when it's time to be loose, when it's time to be serious, and he has a good feel for a ball club of when it's time something needs. I remember a game, we had lost 3 games in a row in Shea Stadium. It was dead. It was a Sunday day game. He came in running from third base and did a pop-up slide into our dugout and yelled, "Let's go!" And he knew we were dead. He knew we were flat. It was a Saturday night game we lost. We were all down. It's Sunday, and he just got us going.
Paul Konerko, the batter. So when you heard he had interviewed for the job and then he got the job, there was a lot of surprise around baseball about both him and Matheny, but you were right on board.
Yeah, I worked with him after our playing days on the College World Series. He was here with us at ESPN. He'd do the College World Series, and he just fantastic baseball mind.
Yep.
Knows defense, knows hitting, knows people.
I think what he and Matheny both have in common as players, tremendously well-liked, tremendously respected ball players.
He has a lot of attributes to the guy to my left and your right. Great sense of humor, great baseball mind, and we're glad to have Terry up here. But, there's no reason that Terry can go back into that dugout anytime he wants. Same type of personality as Robin Ventura.
I like when Ventura was talking before the game, and he said, I don't like to sit in my office. I like to walk through the clubhouse, talk to the guys. He said, but when I do it, their heads snap like, what's the manager want? Am I in trouble? Is there something wrong?
Hope he doesn't come to my locker.
Yeah. And he's only starting to realize, that's me that they're worried about. I'm now in a position of authority instead of just being one of the guys.
I like the idea that he wants to go out in the clubhouse and be a part of what they're doing. It's so easy as a manager to get comfortable sitting in that office, and you lose a little bit of the feel of what's going on out in the clubhouse. You want that clubhouse to be ours, not theirs, not yours, ours.
He is not a stranger any place in the world. He lights up a room.
He's taken all the Nolan Ryan stuff in stride this week, too. Being back here. Nolan Ryan 19 years ago when Ventura charges the mound and Ryan pounds him. Ryan was 46 at the time. Robin was 26. Ventura's younger now than Nolan Ryan was then. Full count on Konerko.
And he calls them noogies. He said Nolan gave him a bunch of noogies on top of the head.
Well, Konerko at the plate. Konerko actually was part of a speech that day from Robin Ventura to the Junior Olympic team, and an inspirational speech that talked about sportsmanship. And then he got plugged and charged, and Konerko was on left field watching that.
Grounded back to the mound, got the runner hung up. And the tag applied by Beltre on Beckham.
And I'm not sure, that probably shouldn't happen there. With the infield playing back, you can let that ball go past the pitcher before you have to break for the plate. I mean, look at the infield's back. He's not going on first on contact. He just got a little bit over anxious. And with Konerko running, there's no chance of him getting the second.
I'll tell you what, coming out of spring training, pitcher's fielding practice sure paid off. He caught this one between his legs.
So Beckham made a good base running play to get to second base at the beginning of the inning, and now makes a bad one here to get hung up between third and home. Costly mistake.
Just got a little over aggressive. And it happens. And again, that's what Robin talked about before the game. He doesn't want his guys to be afraid to make mistakes. It's going to happen.
So Konerko at first on the fielder's choice. 2 down for Alex Rios. Rios hit the game-winning home run last night for the White Sox in the top of the 9th off Texas reliever Joe Nathan. Moreland can play behind Konerko at first. Rios is a guy who's been known to tinker with his stance a lot when he has struggled, and he struggled all of last season. Was a 2-time All-Star in his early days in Toronto. Had a good year for the White Sox 2 years ago, but an off year to say the least last year.
It's the height of the hands, the positioning of the weight. Do I start with a lot of weight on my back leg, or do I go more evenly distributed? He's actually had a big deep crouch, and he's also stood a little bit more erect. He's done it all.
Takes ball 4. So runners at first and second, and now Harrison will have to face A.J. Pierzynski. The tag on Beckham, the base running play, a critical play here this inning, as he got hung up between third and home. Konerko now at second, Rios at first, and here's Pierzynski, whom Harrison finally subdued on a 12-pitch at bat back in the second inning. Got him on a fly ball to center field.
And the way they're playing this defense right now, if A.J. hits a base hit to left field, this is going to be hard for Konerko to score.
Because of where Murphy is in tight end left field?
Yeah, you're looking at speed at second and Murphy playing, off and over a little bit in the end. This is just going to be difficult.
Again, they shade Pierzynski to hit the ball the other way, so a big gap in right center and a lot of room down the right field line. Broken back ground ball up the middle. Young feeds Andrews, and the inning is over. Couple of men left on by the White Sox. 1-0 Texas with Josh Hamilton set to lead it off. Time now for FaceTime, presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney spoke with Robin Ventura between innings.
Robin, your first victory in the major leagues as a manager last night. How did the players react afterward?
They were happy. I mean, it's good to get that first win. They treated me with a little cold bath of something. I don't know what it was, but it was awful cold.
Now, your closer, if you get into that situation tonight, Hector Santiago, coming into the year, 5 1/3 innings. Why did you choose him?
Well, as we went through spring training, he was pitching so well, has a lot of weapons, tough kid, and just like we saw, and we just, instead of moving him as a long guy, we just wanted him later in the game, and then, he just kind of fell into that role.
Robin, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Now, Santiago, Buster, a fascinating guy. Just 2 appearances last year in the major leagues. Spent most of the year at Double-A, part of it at Single-A. And, Terry, they had a number of potential candidates for that closer's role, and Robin Ventura didn't announce it all through spring. It was just announced when it came time to get a safe situation in the regular season.
And he said by doing this, he allowed the other relievers to stay in their roles. Jesse Crane, Matt Thornton.
Breaking ball for a strike, 1-2 on Hamilton.
And you just don't fall into the closer role. He was dominant in spring training. He loved the fact that he'd make the ball go 2 different ways. He's got the breaking ball normal, and then he's got the screwball.
1-2 to Josh Hamilton, another breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hamilton grounded out his first time up. 6 for 11 in his career now against Gavin Floyd.
Sometimes when you watch Josh play the game, it looks so easy for him. He does everything so effortlessly.
Line into right center field, a base hit. Diaz has got to hustle over to cut it off and hold Hamilton to a long single. Very good throw by Diaz into second base.
He stays back on a breaking ball right here. Front foot is down early, but you can see the hands are still loaded. He did a good job staying through that ball and extending the swing, even though it was an off-speed pitch. And I'll tell you what, from behind, watch the head and the shoulders. He stays in and through. If that shoulder would have moved early when the front foot landed, that would be called flying out. But he landed square, stayed on the ball, and hit it up the middle.
Leadoff man aboard, and here's Beltre. There's not a lot of easy spots in this lineup when you're facing this Texas team. Hitless in his first 8 at-bats this season with Beltre, a proven performer. The Rangers 3rd in the majors in a run scored last year, behind only the Yankees and the Red Sox. Foul ball.
And even though the count's 0-2 and he's in the hole real quick, this is sometimes when Adrian Beltre's at his best. He starts thinking more right field. He stays a little bit more balanced. He lets the ball travel a little bit, and then he really becomes dangerous.
Hamilton the lead. What'd you think the first time you were managing him and you saw him take that swing and the left knee winds up down in the dirt? And
I was watching where the ball landed, not that left knee. And he takes balls at BP. He gets it on the grass, and he has a coach hit the ball as hard as he can to him, and he catches it like a goalie.
So not just naturally gifted, works at it too.
Oh, he works at it every day.
Doesn't he love the game?
Yeah.
There's a smile on his face a lot. I mean, he's serious right now, but there's a lot of smiles throughout the day.
He's a good teammate. And that's a big compliment. The way you're talking about Robin Ventura.
Exactly.
Two and two.
Those guys are invaluable. Too long of a season and too many ups and downs. You got to have good teammates.
Yeah, they are the high tide of a team because you do go through those ups and downs, and the guys that can really carry the load and give the team a personality, but a positive one. Keep these guys near the guys that are neutral about your management skills, and you'll have a positive clubhouse.
Driven to right center field. Deep. Gone.
And as we talked about, as he gets deeper in the count, he lets the ball travel, and he doesn't try to pull the ball, and he hits the ball to right field. Look at, not getting out front. Look at the eyes on the ball, and he knows.
There's such good balance hitting an off-speed pitch that way and not being out front, like you say, and driving that ball to right center. Earlier in his career, when he's a young hitter, he'd have swung at that ball and been up front and topped it to third base.
He'd have tried to pull it, you're right.
Did you see what he did when he went down the steps in the dugout?
Somebody grabbed his head.
He had both hands up on that batting helmet. He was not going to let anybody take that helmet off and mess with his hair. 410 feet to the opposite field, to right center field, his first hit of the season. And it's 3-0 Texas. Now Michael Young. So many weapons in this Ranger lineup. Out front, 2-1.
When you get around the Rangers clubhouse or their dugout, they look like they like each other. Not like they, obviously they like to play baseball, but they look like they like to do it with each other.
And they've had some bonding moments. I mean, you think about how many wins it's taken them to get to the World Series the last 2 years, but then to lose 2 World Series as a unit. They look at each other and they have that common experience, and when the drive comes, they all know where it's coming from. When they ask for each other to be responsible for something, they know why now.
Off the end of the bat into shallow right field, and the catch is made by Alex Rios. Diving play by Rios to get the out.
And right there, you got a center fielder playing right field. That's the one thing he's always been able to do, and that's why, and that's part of why everybody keeps thinking you're gonna see it on the offensive side too. But it's been kind of spotty. But he can catch the ball anywhere on the field.
You know, a guy who swings and misses as much as he does, but has that great eye-hand coordination out playing defense, you think it would equate and come in and more contact at the plate.
Well, I think you brought up a point his last at bat. He listens to probably too many people. He changes his stance, his hands too much. As a hitter, you want to fight to stay where you are, not change once a week.
1-1 the count on Cruz. Nelson Cruz popped up his first time up. Cruz is a guy probably as much as anybody wants another shot at October. It was Cruz who saw the hit from David Freese in a Game 6 oral go over his head just by a couple of feet. That was the triple that tied the game in the 9th inning of Game 6, and the Cardinals, of course, would go on to win it in 11. Swing and a miss at a good curveball, 2 down.
I think that's a play that will haunt him for a long, long time, Dan, because it's going to be replayed for a long, long time, and he's going to get to see in his mind's eye and in the replay how poorly he played that ball. And so he does have a lot to come back to and to want to get that monkey off his back.
Just beyond his outstretched glove. There were some who thought he was in too shallow to begin with at the outset of the play, and some who thought he didn't go back with 100% of his speed and ability to make the catch on that play.
And I don't think that's a question of not hustling. It's just that ball kind of played him. As an outfielder, you're taught to get to the spot, and he didn't get there.
And as far as playing too shallow, that's a shared responsibility with the people on the bench that are positioning you and yourself, because with 2 out and a man on first, you're going to think about no doubles, meaning playing very deep, nothing over your head. And when he played that ball in the World Series, instead of it being something that he attacked to get the out, he was feeling for it. And that's what Terry meant by it. He let the ball play him.
Murphy with a chopper back to the mound. High throw, but Konerko makes the play at first, and the inning is over. The Rangers, though, have added to their lead, and again, they've done it with the long ball. Adrian Beltre going the opposite field. 3-0 Rangers. ESPN, the 5th inning, a 3-0 lead for the Rangers over the White Sox. Home runs tonight for Texas for David Murphy and Adrian Beltre, accounting for all of their offense. Alexi Ramirez with a roller to short. One down. Time now for more FaceTime presented by Edward Jones. Buster Olney with Ron Washington between innings.
Ron, you guys had a lot of options in sorting through your rotation with Alexi Ogando. You elected to keep Matt Harrison in the rotation. How come?
Well, you know, number one, he's a left-hander. Number two, he has tremendous stuff. And number three, you know, he's strong as an ox. And each year he's been improving, and he deserved to be there. And not only that, you know, some guys are suited for certain parts of the game, and Harry is suited to start. He needs those days to prepare. And we just think with what he had to offer, for him to be in the bullpen, getting up, sitting down, come in, not come in. So we decided to leave him in the rotation.
We just saw Adrian Beltre hit a home run. What have you learned about him that you didn't know before in the year that you managed him?
Stay out of his way. He loved to play. And more than that, he comes to the ballpark to win. And, you know, being with him, when I saw him from other teams, he was on teams that weren't winning at the time. But once he got here, he found out he had that winning attitude, and he brings it out of everyone else.
Ron, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Adrian Beltre with a home run tonight in support of his left-hander Matt Harrison on the mound, throwing a shutout through 4 1/3. You look at this Texas rotation. Harrison young with a big arm. Derek Holland young with a big arm. Yu Darvish young with a big arm. Colby Lewis, kind of the forgotten guy, Oral, but I don't know if you'd say he's their ace, but remember Cliff Lee left 2 years ago and C.J. Wilson left last year, and Colby Lewis started opening day this year, started big games in the playoffs, pitched well, but kind of a forgotten guy.
Yeah, he is probably the least amount of stuff compared to the young guys, but he has really come up with a good slider. He spent some time over in Japan, now back here for a while, but he's their big game pitcher.
It's sharply down to first. Moreland makes the play. Visieta retired 2 down. And then the 5th starter, at least that's where he's slotting in right now, Terry, is Neftali Feliz, who was the closer last year for Texas. Give us your thoughts on him as a starter.
And he wants to start, so that's good news right from the beginning. He's got electric stuff. he's going to have to command that fastball when he gets into a starting role, because you're seeing lineups once, twice, 3 times, and you don't want to be out after 5 innings because of a high pitch count.
Eduardo Escobar sends the ball into right center field. This will split the outfielders and get all the way to the wall. Escobar around second, on his way to third, and in there with a triple.
You get to be your own third base coach when the ball's in front of you, and Escobar, with 2 outs, decided to take third, and he had to know he was going to get there. But Hamilton and Cruz were not to the ball when he got to second base, and he still was spotting the ball. He drove this ball so well to right center, and we've been seeing this side shot of good balance. And I'll tell you what, he made it into third easy. No throw that would have got him, but he still put the landing gear down.
Not his first big league hit. He had 2 hits last season in a brief stint with the White Sox late in the year. This is his first extra base hit. He's at third with 2 down. The White Sox trailing 3-0, and the batter is Diaza. And they're in on the corner. Should Diaza try to bunt for a base hit to cash in a run here? Takes a belt-high strike, and it's 0-2. Now they'll back up. Diaza with good speed had a dozen stolen bases and about 150 at-bats worth of playing time for the White Sox a year ago.
They're not going to back up too far because of his speed, because if he hits a little chopper off the plate, you can't be so deep like there's a power hitter up there, because he's not going to hit it very hard. He's still worried about the infield hit.
Wow.
Well, you remember his first at bat, how many balls he fouled off? I think it was 9 or 10 pitches in his first at bat, and it was a lot of swings like that. Keeps spoiling it.
He might be lucky he got a piece of that. I would say he's set up for either pitch right now. He's swinging it, the ball foot off the plate in. If he just spins it anywhere out of the middle of the plate, you got to believe he's going to be out in front of him.
This is where Matt Harrison knows that the hitter is out if he trusts his catcher, Torrealba, to block the ball. Because he knows the hitter is swinging. He knows he wants to bounce it, but you have to trust your catcher with a man on third and 2 out, that you don't just give away a run trying to strike the hitter out.
Did you call that swing mode earlier?
Swing mode.
This is ultra swing mode.
Broken bat roller to second. Inning over. Harrison gets out of another jam. He has thrown 5 shutout innings here tonight in Arlington. Call that last season during a game here in Arlington, a fan, Shannon Stone, a local firefighter who was attending the game with his then 6-year-old son, Cooper, reached out to catch a ball that had been thrown towards the stands by Josh Hamilton, fell over a railing, and tragically fell to his death here at the ballpark in Arlington. This statue, bronze lifelike statue, which is called Rangers Fans, but it's dedicated to Shannon Stone and Cooper Stone. This was dedicated on Thursday here in Arlington. The entire team was there for the dedication, including Josh Hamilton, who spent a lot of time with the family and has stayed in touch with the Stone family, remains close to them, took some pictures with them, and so forth. Just a tragic situation where a little boy was at the game with his dad. And Terry, a play that happens 100 times a day in every ballpark around America, and it just ended tragically for a fan. But the Rangers have really gotten behind this, have really gotten involved in the dedication of the statue, and the Stone family is always near and dear to their hearts.
And the Rangers have handled it with so much class and so much dignity. And there was even a story that Buddy Bell, longtime Ranger, had hit a foul ball a long time ago.
Yeah.
And Buddy came for the ceremonies and spoke and had to compose himself a couple times. They've turned a tragic situation into such a touching story. And they're handling, like I said, with such grace.
And you can really learn a lot about an organization in that kind of a situation.
Yes.
Orl, I know you work down here and you know a lot of the people well down here. They really stepped up and, as Terry said, took a tragic situation and did with it what they could to help the family and to honor the memory of Shannon Stone.
Yeah, we've talked about Nolan Ryan tonight and how tough he was with Robin Ventura when he was a pitcher, but he has really shown a big, huge heart of Texas here in his leadership, and Ron Washington and the players. But we wish it never would have happened.
We go to the bottom of the 5th inning now in Arlington. A 3-0 lead for the Rangers. A little work done on the mound between innings, the landing area, at the request of Gavin Floyd. He'll face Yorvi Torrealba, Mitch Moreland, and Ian Kinsler here this inning. Floyd 12-13 a year ago. This is his first start of this season as he misses down and away ball 1. Torrealba caught looking his first time up. The Rangers were keeping an eye on the out-of-town scoreboard, and I know it's April, but with everything the Angels did in the offseason, I'm sure the Rangers and Angels are going to be watching each other like hawks all season long. And the Angels lost today. Kansas City took 2 out of 3 from the Angels, beat them 7-3 today.
Yeah, but they're not mathematically eliminated.
No.
They don't have to watch that close yet, do they?
Texas's magic number is 160, I think. Point is...
Yes.
You got a couple of superpowers out here in the American League West, right? Okay.
In the American League, there's going to be a good team go home.
At least one, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be the Angels or the Rangers.
Extra wild card spot. 5 teams make the playoffs in each league. Torrealba retired, 1 down. Now, starting in 2002, it was really more often than not the Angels division. They were a wild card winner, actually, when they won the World Series in 2002, won 5 division titles in the next 7 years. But each of the last 2 seasons, the Texas Rangers have won the American League West. And it sure looks like the Angels and Rangers obviously have a lot of distance between them, and then the Mariners and A's, both of whom are at a different stage of their development right now. But it's not quite as simple as, hey, both of them will probably make the playoffs, because you want to do everything you can to win that division, right, Tito, and stay out of that 1-game playoff.
How would you like to go through a year, maybe win 95, 96 games and have to have a 1-game playoff?
Yeah. Better than being at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you might be home the very next day.
Well, you might be, but you still got a chance.
Let's say you get to the last day of the regular season. Let me ask you a philosophical question. You get to the last day of the regular season. You're guaranteed a playoff spot, but you're tied with another team to win your division. Do you use your number 1 starter on the last day of the regular season to try to win your division outright and avoid the playoff, 1-game playoff?
Now or last year? I mean, the way it was set up.
This system.
Yes, I do.
Now,
I don't want a 1-game. I don't want to have a chance of losing a 1-game playoff.
And then you would probably you'd have to use your number 2 starter, obviously, in the 1-game playoff. So you might not have. You'd have your number 3 guy starting game 1 of the next round.
But at least you'd be at the next round. You know, it's
that kind of stuff happens in prior to these rule changes because, say, you battle it right down to the last day. You don't have time to get your rotation in order anyway. So some teams don't figure out they're going to the playoffs till 2 days before the regular season's over. Some day on the last day, like last year.
But all the way back in 04, the Yankees eliminated us from winning the division with about 5 days left.
Yep.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to us. It allowed us to take a deep breath. We knew we were the wild card, and we could line up our pitching.
Exactly.
Moreland draws the one-out walk. Back to the top of the order for Kinsler, who has flied out and walked. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Down to Buster with more on this.
Guys, I asked that very question to Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees, and Joe Madden, the manager of the Rays, and both of them said as long as they have a chance to win that division, that's what they're going to try to do, even if they know they're assured of a wild card, because it's so important this year to win the division.
And that, of course, is a departure from the way a lot of people looked at it under the old system. Kinsler sends a fly ball to left field. And Viciedo was there to make the play, 2 down. Meanwhile, further east, as we looked out at the out-of-town scoreboard and went through the box scores from today, both the Yankees and the Red Sox lost again today. They are both 0-3 on the season. And the Red Sox game, and for obvious reasons, Terry, you're looking at this game a little bit more closely than most. They were up in the 9th, blew the lead, took the lead in the 11th, lost it as Alex Avila hit a home run off Mark Melancon, as Detroit beat Boston 13-12 today in 11 innings. And I know, having started 0-6 last year, you can speak to what the environment is probably like around Boston these days.
And, when we started last year out 0-6, everybody kept saying, you're going to be okay. And I believed it, but I'm going to tell you, there wasn't a whole lot of air to breathe for a while there. And Bobby, I'm sure, and the rest of those guys know that they're going to be fine. They're good, but it's miserable when you start out that way in a place like Boston.
Elvis Andrus, the batter. The Yankees were swept by Tampa Bay. They're getting some great pitching, no surprise there.
And they're scoring runs.
Yeah.
That's what Tampa's come out of the chute, really swinging the bat, scoring runs offensively.
Carlos Pena's swinging the bat well. Big struggle for Aceves and Melancon today. The Yankees are 0-3 for the first time in 14 years. And Jonas Cespedes off to a big start for the A's. Andrus with a fly ball to center. And that is all for the Rangers here in the 5th. 3-0 Texas at the end of 5 in Arlington. All right, Carl Crucky, thanks very much. Back here in Arlington, a 3-0 lead for the Rangers over the White Sox. Each team winning once in this series so far. Great start for the Tigers. The concern for them right now, Doug Fister went on the DL. Strained a muscle in his side. Terrific starting pitcher for them. Their number 2 guy. The number 3 guy, Max Scherzer, was hit hard today.
Doug Fister is a guy that quietly goes about his business and understands how to get big league hitters out.
Pitched well for Seattle last year and pitched even better after he was acquired by the Tigers. Here's Gordon Beckham leading off the 6th. They'll be followed by Adam Dunn and Paul Konerko. The White Sox, no runs, just 3 hits off Matt Harrison through 5. In the air to right field. Cruz backpedaling, 1 down. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Watch almost 100 live out-of-market games each week on your favorite devices. Visit MLB.TV for details. Our first Sunday night game for you. Dan Schulman, Terry Francona, Oral Hershiser, Buster Olney. I know we had a heck of a lot of fun going to Miami Wednesday, Detroit Thursday, Anaheim Friday. Give Tito a chance to catch his breath for a few days before we meet up again with him at Yankee Stadium next weekend. We'll have the Angels and the Yankees for you 1 week from tonight.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm out of clothes.
You brought your whole closet.
Adam Dunn looks at a strike, 1-1.
Your suitcases look like my wife packing for a weekend.
I tell you, it's good. You're asking a lot of questions. You're having fun. You're talking to people. You're getting the hang of it quickly, my friend.
It's like the Pied Piper when we get down in the locker rooms.
Oh, yeah.
It's like recruiting players already. It's not illegal now. It's like building relationships, getting cell numbers.
It's fun being around the players, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wonderful, but you'd like act like an agent down there sometimes, like talking to everybody. Hey, let me get your number.
Swing and a miss. Full count on Dunn. Strikeout and a ground out for Dunn. A little squibber hit the other way to Beltre. 2 down. Let's take a look now at our game track. Brought to you by Ram. A 3-0 lead for the Rangers here in the 6th inning. All the runs of the game scoring on home runs. A solo shot by David Murphy. A 2-run blast by Adrian Beltre. And Matt Harrison looking good.
And on Oral, we were talking before the game, this is such a great place to hit. But they've made the grass in the infield really thick and really slow just to give these pitchers a little bit of a chance.
As it gets warmer, though, and that ball gets in the air.
This is if not the best place to hit. It's got to be top 2. Everybody talks about Colorado, but this is right there.
I saw a note, if you look at the numbers from last year, this was the #1 offensive park in baseball. And I know people are saying, well, they hit great. Of course, the comparison is made between the runs they score and allow at home compared to the runs they score and allow in the 81 road games. This park boosted offense by about 41%. 41% more runs scored for and against the Rangers in the 81 games here than for and against the Rangers in the 81 road games. That's a ton. Colorado was second. And that one will shoot through into left field, a base hit for Konerko.
So it takes a strong guy like Konerko to throw it through that hole. The speed. I'll tell you what, Terry and I coached back here a few years back, and we know when you had Alex Rodriguez and Mike Young and Rafael Palmeiro and Pudge Rodriguez, Juan Gonzalez, those guys, they wanted this infield to be like a pool table. And I don't care how big and how strong the pitching lobby got, we weren't going to get the grass any longer with that offense and those guys. But now, Nolan Ryan takes over. He's like, we're going to pitching, boys.
Alex Rios, the batter.
You guys have a jet stream to right field. You hitters, the ball carries in the air. You guys can do that part of the game. we get the grass.
When the weather gets warm here in the summer, boy, does that ball carry to right.
And sometimes the way it is, the harder the flags are blowing in, the harder the jet stream is going out, because the wind hits the stands and shoots it back out, especially if you keep the ball low. It'll fly to right.
I'll explain that to you one of these days. Is that geometry or trigonometry? Or
let's go with physics. We'll keep it broad.
I'll speak to you on the next flight, both you guys.
Okay. But you know what? They've had some good pitching numbers here the last couple of years. 4th in the league in ERA, 3rd in the league in ERA. Nolan Ryan, as the story's become well known, he just kind of challenged the starting pitchers, and he said, you know, this 6 innings, 90 pitches, and you're done, like, get rid of that mentality. He wants his pitchers thinking about going as deep into the game as they possibly can.
Your speech is a lot more effective when you're left-handed and throw 95 or the guys you're talking to.
Full count.
They have a new influence in the pitching department here, too, because Mike Maddox is the pitching coach, but his brother Greg Maddox became a free agent, and Greg get recruited by his brother to come here. And see a little influence already from Greg here tonight from Mr. Harrison, because there have been some left-on-left situations where he's been throwing a changeup to left-handed hitters. And that's a belief of Greg Maddox, that you can take any pitch and throw it in any spot, any place, compared to the traditional way of throwing only breaking balls to left-handers from a left-handed pitcher.
Rios draws the walk. Mike Maddox, the aforementioned Maddox, the pitching coach here, on his way to the mound. You saw the bullpen just got busy. Mark Lowe is up. Harrison's at 98 pitches early in the season, a little high for 5 2/3 of shutout ball. So Lowe is up. Each of the 3 key relievers that the Rangers have, that's Mike Adams, Alexi Ogando, and Joe Nathan, each of them has pitched each of the last 2 nights. So one or more of them might be getting the night off tonight. Ron Washington might be using guys a little bit out of their normal roles, Tito.
And even with Alex Rios' struggles, he hit that fastball last night for a tie break, go-ahead home run. They're pitching around him tonight because they had the lefty Brzezinski behind, and all of AJ's home runs last year were against right-hand pitchers. So they definitely have a plan. They don't want to let Alex Rios beat them.
Brzezinski 0 for 2, and the White Sox 0 for 4 with the runners in scoring position. This has the feel of last batter either way. Lefty on lefty, whether he gets him or not.
The first at bat, they slowed him down with the changeups inside that we were just talking about. The second at bat, he got him on a fastball in, jammed him on a ground ball to second. He really hasn't seen the really good breaking balls yet. He might go to the well with a pitch that's been a mystery so far for AJ.
Left it up. Brzezinski hits it high down the right field line, and it drops untouched in foul territory. Lowe continues to loosen up in the Rangers' pen.
That last pitch had him out front. It was a changeup. It was high, but it had him way out front. Got most of what he was looking for, which was to upset the timing of the hitter. If he'd had it down, it'd been a ground ball or a swing and miss.
Check the swing. Confirmed on the appeal. 2-1 on Brzezinski. Harrison gave out a 1-out single in the first. Had a couple of men on in the fourth, got out of it. A 2-out triple in the fifth, got out of it. And now 2 on, 2 out, a pitch away from getting out of it here in the sixth.
Another big out for Matt Harrison. 6 shutout innings for the left-hander tonight. Rangers lead the White Sox 3-0 as Josh Hamilton comes to the plate. He has grounded out and singled and scored here tonight. And we're going to show you in this at bat Josh Hamilton's hot zone. This is against right-handed pitching last year. You'll see as soon as we can put it up there between pitches, the strike zone split into 9 different locations. And a red zone, a red square is where he hit 350 or higher. A blue square is where he hit 250 or lower. And Oral, that's a whole lot of hot zones in the strike zone, and not a lot of areas if you're a pitcher to shoot for. High and deep to right center field. Must have hit a hot zone right there.
When it's in the strike zone, he hits really, really well. We saw in the first pitch it was a ball from K zone. He didn't hit it. Once you get it in the middle of the plate or anywhere on the plate, 350 or better.
Here's Beltre.
350 or better with damage.
Yeah. And that's one thing we've learned as we've studied this and looked at different hitters, is how incredibly high the batting averages are for a lot of the hitters within the strike zone, how incredibly low they are outside the strike zone. I mean, if you make a mistake in the zone, even if you make a good pitch in the zone, as Beltre loops one into right field, hitters are going to hurt you. You got to get guys out outside of the zone a lot.
Well, we saw a lot of red on his hot zone, which is 350 and above. And pitch 1 is a ball off the zone. He swings and misses it. Pitch 2, high in the zone, and he plants it in the right field bleachers. And the teammates like it too, especially the starting pitcher, Matt Harrison.
Look at him. Oh my gosh. Look where that ball went.
That stupid strong hit to a stupid area.
You know you're good, Terry, when even your teammates, other professional athletes, are in awe of some of the things you do on the baseball field.
Back in the 08 All-Star game in Yankee Stadium,
oh boy,
when he put on that show, I remember being tired, wanting to go home, but not wanting to go home until he was done. That was one of the most incredible exhibition hitting I've ever seen.
Michael Young. Bouncer to third, tricky hop, and it eats up Escobar. Beltre makes the turn, digging for third, and in there.
And you could see this one coming. He let that ball play him just that last half step. Instead of coming to get it, it gets the top spin and eats him up. And then what the Rangers do so well is they just don't take 90 feet. Beltre makes a solid turn and goes all the way to third.
Activity now in the White Sox pen. Left-hander Will Oman, right-hander Nate Jones, a rookie with a big arm. That play, I believe, was scored fielder's choice E5. And the end result is runners at first and third with nobody out for Nelson Cruz. And it is fielder's choice E5. All smiles for Josh Hamilton in that Texas dugout right now after launching a home run to begin this inning.
And the White Sox have to start making decisions now. They can't go down much more. So your middle infielders, you're going to put a little extra pressure on them to maybe make a play at the plate if the ball's hit hard enough.
Yeah, I think they're going to come home at the corners, Terry, and go for the double play up the middle. I was watching the White Sox dugout, and they were signaling the defenders on the corners to come home.
They're getting to a point in the game where you give up any more runs, and you're making it just that much more difficult.
Ground ball to short, to second one. On to first, they do turn the double play, but the run will come in to score to make it 5-0.
I'll tell you what, Josh Hamilton has a lot of power, and he has great mechanics in his swing. When the front foot lands, you see the hands are in a hitting position, the head right down there, and he's like an axe chopping wood, and that was a high tree to get on top of that ball on that high a pitch. Most left-handers are great low ball hitters. Josh Hamilton, as we saw in the hot zone, can hit any pitch, high or low.
Hit that one 441 feet. 5-0 Texas. A pitching change here in Arlington. Will Oman, the left-hander, on his way in for the White Sox. Presented by Taco Bell. Back here in Arlington, Dan Schulman, Oral Hershiser, Terry Francona, Buster Olney. All Rangers so far leading 5-0. David Murphy, who's already homered tonight, coming to the plate. He'll face a new pitcher as Robin Ventura has gone to his bullpen. For veteran left-hander Will Oman, went 1-3 with a 4.22 ERA in 59 appearances for the White Sox a year ago, and he's been around, been a Cub, a Brave, a Dodger, an Oriole, and a Marlin as well. Like a lot of lefties, they travel. You better be mobile when you're a left-hander. You're going to bounce around some. 2 out, nobody on, 2 runs in the inning. And ball 1 down and away.
If you're left-handed and breathing, somebody's going to give you a chance.
You see left-handed relievers, a lot of them pitch into their late 30s, some of them their early 40s. Remember Darren Oliver with Texas last year. He's been at it forever now with Toronto.
If you're a veteran left-hander and you have a rough year and then you're out looking for a job come the next spring training, if you can find your breaking ball for those 6 weeks and get the 8-10 left-handers during spring training out, you're going to make a roster just by getting your breaking ball over to lefties.
Over the outside corner, 2-1.
Of all the specialties in baseball, a left-handed reliever with a good breaking ball to get a left-hander out. The utility infielder, no. The defensive replacement, no. The pinch runner, no. The left-hander with the breaking ball, it's the highest commodity of all the specialties.
Got that pitch up. And Murphy lines it into center field, a base hit. And in the scheme of this game, that may not be a big moment, but for David Murphy, that's a big moment. This is a guy trying to prove to Ron Washington he deserves to play every day.
They could have very easily had Craig Gentry hit there. He's most likely going to come in for defense anyway, but they gave David Murphy a chance to have a good at-bat, and that's what he did.
Nate Jones up in the pen. Rookie right-hander who can touch 97 to maybe 98 miles an hour. Looks like we're going to see him at some point. Ventura considering the options. Murphy the lead at first, and the batter is Torre Alba. You hear all that hollering that's coming from the Texas dugout on the first base side. Everybody just helping out Murphy. That Oman was going over to first. High fly ball to shallow left center. Diaz with the catch, and that'll end the inning. 2 more runs, though, for the Rangers, including one on the home run by Josh Hamilton, and it is 5-0 Texas. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation for today, innovation for tomorrow, innovation for all. By Scott's, feed your lawn, feed it. And by makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. This is Terry on the travel day yesterday, getting his workout in. Can you imagine?
No.
Other things we won't be doing this year. We got scared watching the roller coaster promo. There's Alexi Ramirez to lead off the 7th for the White Sox. New pitcher for Texas, right-hander Mark Lowe into the game after 6 terrific innings from Matt Harrison. Lowe again working. This is not his normal spot. Normally 7th inning we'd see Alexi Ogando right now. Mark Lowe, 52 appearances last year. Unfortunately for him, probably best remembered as the guy who gave up the David Freese home run in the 11th inning of Game 6 of the World Series last year. And the reason Lowe is in is that Ron Washington is going to rest some of his high-profile relievers because Ogando, Adams, and Joe Nathan all pitched each of the last 2 days. And even at this point of the season, managers are really hesitant. Terry, this has evolved over the years. Managers are really hesitant to use guys 3 days in a row. Some guys anyways.
Well, with the salaries that guys are getting paid now, you want to keep them healthy, because if you keep them healthy, you'll keep them productive.
There for a strike. That's why instead of the old days with 9-man pitching staffs, 4 starters and 5 relievers, now you got 12-man pitching staffs, 5 starters and 7 relievers. Most relievers just 1-inning guys. Not as many Bulldogs as there used to be, you know.
You know, I really believe that the big league pitch every year is more strenuous, each individual pitch. The hitters get smarter, they're stronger. The information about what you're throwing, they lowered the mound in '68. A lot of the ballparks are a lot tighter now, so foul territory, it's harder to get outs. I really think being careful with these arms is important.
Base hit into left field for Alexi Ramirez.
Strike zone's a lot smaller.
And it seems like every staff has one guy you can go to lean on when times get tough. And, you know, a staff saver.
Mm-hmm.
Their ERA may be a little bit elevated, but they'll save the rest of your pitchers.
There's Joe Nathan. He's the closer, formerly of the Minnesota Twins.
He does not look like he wants an off day.
And Ron Washington did say that if Joe came to him and said he could pitch and it was a safe situation, he'd run him out there for a 3rd day in a row.
2 reasons. One, they want to get over the hump that he can go 3 days in a row because he's coming back from surgery. He's their guy. And 2, wants to get the bad taste out of his mouth from blowing the save yesterday.
The only problem with that is if you find out he can't come back, that's 3 days into the season, a tough time to find out.
Yeah.
Well, he's all smiles right now. It's the 7th inning, so the only time he's going to get called on is the 9th. So this is his time to go through his regiment. Game face will come on later.
Diane Viciedo, the batter. You saw left-hander Robbie Ross is the pitcher who's now throwing in the Texas pen. And he's a rookie and a guy that Ron Washington says is well ahead of the curve in terms of his composure and maturity, and he's handled everything well. Taking over the job that Darren Oliver had last year. You go from a guy in his 40s who's been around forever to a rookie, but a guy the Rangers feel pretty good about.
And your roster is so deep, and you've been to the World Series 2 years in a row, and the only piece that you're really kind of feeling through is your left-hander in the bullpen. That's a good problem to have.
And with some of these right-handed arms they're running out there, they're not going to need to piecemeal it together. When you bring in Alexi Ogando, you don't need a left-hander.
No.
Two and two. lead at first by Ramirez. 2-2 the count on Aviciado. A little chopper. That's a fair ball. The out recorded as the runner advances. Well, Robbie Ross not only might come into this game in a pitch, but as the low man on the totem pole in the bullpen, you guys know this well. Sometimes you got to take one for the team, and here in Texas, they mean business. It's not just the pink backpack with the gum and the seeds. He's got the hat and the vest and the horse and the galloping and the whole deal.
He seems to be enjoying it a little bit too much.
You got to have a sense of humor to be a rookie on a big league club. You know what? If you handle that stuff with a smile on your face, doesn't that get you in a lot quicker with the veterans?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If you have fun with it and have fun back with them, you are just welcomed with open arms.
I thought the backpack looked pretty good on you when you came up in the ballpark today. So.
If you can imagine the stroll to the bullpen, can you imagine what the bus ride to the hotel must be like?
Oh, they do it then too, huh? Yeah.
It gets a little worse.
I've been going wig shopping for him, Dan, to have him have to wear that during a broadcast one time as his initiation.
Ross ready if needed. 5-0 Texas. 7th inning. They've hit 3 home runs in this game. In support of Matt Harrison and now Mark Lowe on in relief in the 7th. Escobar bounced into a fielder's choice his first time up, tripled his second time up. He's turned around to bat from the left side now against the right-hander Lowe. He's a natural shortstop but filling a utility role, second, short, and third, playing third tonight for the White Sox. A special edition of the NBA on ESPN Tuesday night. It begins in Miami. The Boston Celtics are there to take on the Heat. And then at 9:30, boy, this sounds familiar, the Knicks and Bulls. What a game they had this afternoon on ABC with the Knicks winning in overtime. 43 points for Carmelo Anthony. Derrick Rose returned and scored 29 in a losing effort for the Bulls. They'll meet again on Tuesday night. Strike 3 called inside corner for out number 2.
Going for the corner. He thinks he got the corner. He hit the glove. He got the call. It's one that will be griped about on the gray side, but not the blue and white side.
You know what, though? I love when they give that pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give the pitcher something. The way the hitters stand so close to the plate these days, when a guy throws a ball in there like that and sticks it, I love when the umpire gives that ball's an inch off the plate. I love that.
You didn't love it when I was pitching.
No, it was a grounder to second.
Here's Diaz 0 for 3. The White Sox have had a man on each of the last 5 innings. They've had a man in scoring position each of the last 4 innings. But they're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position tonight. Robin Ventura's team has not gotten that big hit that they've been looking for all night long. Out of play.
You know, early on today in our meeting this morning, Oral and I were talking about pitchers having a heavy ball. Mm-hmm. We were trying to explain, we didn't do a very good job of it, I don't think, but Mark Lowe has a heavy ball. It just feels like, as a hitter, like you're hitting a bowling ball.
And what is it, guys, if 2 pitchers throw with the same velocity, that one seems to fly off your bat and the other's a bowling ball?
Tweet it to us, please. Tweet us the answer, because you play catch with guys, and some guys will throw the ball to you 90 miles an hour and you'll catch it and you feel like you caught a feather, and another guy will throw it to you 87 miles an hour and you feel like you caught a bowling ball. It has nothing to do with velocity. Maybe it's the amount of spin that a guy puts on the ball, so it's harder to catch, harder to hit on the bat. But I have no idea scientifically why. I know what it feels like on the bat and in the glove, but I can't tell you why.
So, Terry, who were some guys you hit against who had that?
Well, there were the majority out. But there are just, as Oral's saying, there are certain guys when you play catch with them, you feel like you could catch it with a wine glass.
Yeah.
And then there's those other guys. This ball's coming in like it's a lead weight, and it gives you that bone bruise.
It might be the fact it has late movement and you don't catch it in the web as well as somebody who throws the ball straighter.
Tom Henke, remember the guy from Toronto?
Sure.
He wouldn't get you out. He'd get you out with a bruise. He wasn't content to make you just ground out.
Right.
He'd have to have that bat in half in your thumb, with a black and blue mark.
So it's not necessarily a sinker. A lot of times we talk about guys with sinkers who have a heavy ball, but it's not necessarily just those guys, right?
A straight fastball, a two-seamer, and a cutter, but I don't think many sliders or breaking balls that you really feel like it's a heavy ball. But it's something to do with speed, the velocity, when they're throwing something that's a fastball.
And you feel it, your hands feel it on the bat, Terry?
It feels like the ball's heavier. That's what it feels like. Yeah. Again, I'll research this and get this with you, too.
When he comes back with the answer, Dan, I don't think we're going to use that on national TV.
I knew the second semester University of Arizona, second semester freshman University of Arizona education would come in handy at some point.
Another full count pitch coming to Diaza. Mark Lowe with a mid-90s fastball, an 87-mile-an-hour changeup it looked like there that Diaza got a piece of. Trying to keep the White Sox off the board.
It could be a two-out harmless RBI single. But the next four guys in the order can go deep with one swing, and all of a sudden it could be a ball game with a single and a home run.
Ramirez the lead at second, 2 down, and again the 3-2. In the air, left center field, long run, and what a catch by Hamilton!
Wow.
Guess who's going to meet him on the top step of the dugout? He has done it all tonight. A towering home run and a spectacular catch in left center field to preserve the shutout bid for the Rangers. 7th inning stretch. Hamilton the story, Texas in the lead. Welcome back to Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. With Buster Olney, Oral Hershiser, Terry Francona, I'm Dan Schulman. The Rangers lead the White Sox 5-0. Major League debut for 26-year-old right-hander Nate Jones, 6'5", 185, from Covington, Kentucky, just across the river from Cincinnati, Ohio. Pitched at Double-A last year, and a big arm, 97, 98 miles an hour on the fastball with a big curveball as well. Mitch Moreland leads it off for the Rangers.
And this is another young pitcher the White Sox system has produced. A system that's kind of taken some knocks in maybe some of the publications, but I think maybe it's a little misunderstood. They've developed a lot of young players that have come through to get to the major league level that have maybe been put in deals to other teams. And they got young guys on this team. Addison Reed, Hector Santiago, Nate Jones. Young, good-looking pitchers.
A lot of power arms in this White Sox pen. Missed outside. Got to have some jitters, Oral, huh?
Yeah, no AAA innings, so he's jumping from Double-A, 26 years old, so he really didn't grow up a prospect. He was more of a suspect that has really slowly opened some eyes, and especially opened Robin Ventura's eyes, the new manager, and Don Cooper, because Robin wanted to break camp with the 12 best arms, not necessarily the 12 best resumes, but the most talented people. And so the change in manager here has helped his career.
You like the way he separates there in the arm?
Well, it's a little different. It's not conventional. Usually you drop the ball out of your glove and your arm goes down and around, and he takes it out a little bit more like a catcher. And I wouldn't be surprised if someplace in his past he was a catcher.
He's got a little bit of that Henry Rowan Gardner from the movie. The guy that pitched for the Cubs.
Well, wasn't the young man that got the save for you to win your world championship have a little bit of this delivery?
A little bit of Keith Folk in him?
He's got a little Keith Folk in him. He's got a little changeup he's been throwing, so that's who I see. Right-handed reliever with a kind of an odd delivery, but a good changeup like that.
Nice low.
He's got good balance there, 50-50 on the weight. Very conventional with everything but the arm swing. What really is important is right here when that front foot lands, he looks pretty good. The only thing I might change is get that glove up a little bit higher in his chest so he could extend and go over his front leg a little bit more. Goes a little bit across his body, but for one inning, if that's what he's going to do, sometimes unconventional works.
Probably a little bit biased because I've known so many people throughout the player development system with the White Sox, but they've been getting pitchers through to the big leagues for so long.
Yeah, they've done a good job.
There's a strike. 1-1 on Kinsler.
Well, we know he's got butterflies. He's just got he's got to have them fly in formation. Get the ball in the strike zone. You know.
I thought Robin Ventura did a terrific job of getting him his first appearance in a situation like this.
Kinsler late on that 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-2. Josh Hamilton, one of the big stories of the night. A 441-foot home run. Made a very nice diving catch in center field early in the game tonight, back in the second, and then made a tremendous catch at left center field in the seventh.
The guy at the plate, Ian Kinsler, is going to be a free agent. They're trying to work out a 5- or 6-year extension. Josh Hamilton's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. They really have cut off those negotiations. For me, Kinsler's the guy that I would sign. Josh Hamilton's the guy that I would wait on. Because if there's only 1 or 2 things about Josh Hamilton that people worry about, that's his health and his attention span to the game. And I think with a contract year hanging over his head, you might see the biggest year ever from Josh Hamilton. And Ian Kinsler, I never worry about his concentration and him blocking in day to day. But Josh is so talented that sometimes he looks like he's bored.
full count. Let's go down to Buster for more.
And Oral, your thinking is right in line with what the Rangers are thinking. Unlike with Kinsler, there are no ongoing talks with Josh Hamilton. He's eligible for free agency in the fall, as you mentioned. During the winter, he talked about possibly going after one of those big deals we saw during the course of the wintertime. But I think given the things that you just mentioned and his off-field issues, I think the Rangers are content to wait.
One difference, Hamilton's up at the end of this year. The club has an option on Kinsler for 2013, so there's actually less urgency to do something with Kinsler, but it appears more of a chance that they'll do something with Kinsler first.
I think Josh Hamilton will have a huge year with the contract over his head. I think as long as he stays healthy, we might see some extreme numbers. Might end up costing you a little bit more because you watch that, but some of the question marks might clear up.
Back-to-back walks issued by Jones to the first two batters he faces in the big leagues. Let's take a look now at the 3 home runs hit by the Rangers tonight, brought to you by the Three Stooges. David Murphy got it started. Leading off the third inning, hit a breaking ball into the second deck down the right field line. Adrian Beltre in the fourth inning, a 2-run shot to deep right center. And then the most impressive home run of the night by Josh Hamilton. Second deck, deep right center, 441 feet away. They do some damage against the White Sox tonight. They're doing all the damage just about against the White Sox, that trio. Zach Stewart now up in the White Sox pen. Jones has walked a couple of batters and now faces Elvis Andrus with Hamilton on deck.
How many outings, Tito, do you have to give a young man when he's having his first big league outing that all of a sudden you find out, okay, he's done it long enough, he's struggled long enough, we've seen who he is right now, compared to he bursts on the scene, you know, and is amazing.
I think it's different for everybody. Again, they're going to learn something about this young man right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes out of the chute, he walks the first 2 hitters. Don Cooper makes a trip to the mound to settle him down. And as all he has to do is look over his left shoulder and see Josh Hamilton swinging 4 bats on the on-deck circle. You're going to find out something about him right now.
Ground ball to short. 1-2. Jones induces the double play grounder. So runner at third, 2 down for Hamilton.
Center fielder Josh Hamilton.
The MVP of the American League 2 years ago in 2010 when he won the batting title, hitting .359. In 08, here is a Ranger led the league with 130 RBIs. Last year, some injuries set him back. Appeared in only 121 games. Still drove in 94 runs. Oh, and 2. What a recovery this would be for Nate Jones after walking the first 2 hitters he faces. Got the double play grounder if he can get Hamilton to get out of this.
You know, Dan, we showed the hot zones, and for Hamilton, it was almost completely red, and that's 350 and above. The major league hitter, when a ball's in the strike zone, hits 288. If it's not in the strike zone, a major league hitter last year hit 177. Josh Hamilton, when it's in the strike zone, he hits about 350.
As you said, with damage.
With damage, and really higher than 350. Because you have to have a minimum of an average of 350 to get a red zone on our hot zone. And what was it, 7 out of 9?
6 out of 9. Yeah.
6 out of 9 were 350 or above. I'm sure some were even 500.
There's a pitch out of the strike zone, but with a count in Jones's favor, Hamilton has to chase.
I'm going to go fastball up around his neck twice and a 3-2 changeup.
That's a lot to ask for a kid that's making his major league debut.
Or go breaking ball.
I would imagine this young man just wants to get him out, run in, call mom and dad and say, I got Josh Hamilton out.
With the changeup, miss low.
Well, he has not shown him a fastball to hold it back. And he's counting on Josh to swing on something out of the strike zone.
These are not the easiest of at-bats for veteran hitters. Young kid that throws hard that you've never seen before.
Got him, and again went with a changeup. So Nate Jones in his major league debut strikes out Josh Hamilton to end the inning. ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you've got to live Moss. And in part by Lincoln. It's not just luxury, it's smarter than that. Texas Ranger boots being made here in Arlington. It's got you written all over it, Tito.
I was just going to say the same thing about Oral, and you beat me to the punch.
Top of the 8th inning, 5-0 Rangers, and guess what? We've got another major league debut. Left-hander Robbie Ross is into the game for Texas to protect his 5-0 lead. Gordon Beckham leads it off for Chicago. Ross started last year in A-ball. 12 months later, here he is in the big leagues. Craig Gentry's coming to the game in center field. Josh Hamilton moves to left. David Murphy out of the game. And this is the normal way Ron Washington will play it in the outfield when the Rangers have a lead late.
We've seen it with both these young pitchers having trouble throwing strikes in their first big league outing. The first people that believe you can do it are the scouts and your manager and the pitching coach. The most important person that has to believe that you can do it is the guy holding the ball.
Just missed outside, and like Jones, Ross walks the first batter he faces in the big leagues.
One of the issues in your head is that you have to be perfect and you have to be better than you've ever been to get a big league hitter out. That evaluation has already happened by the professionals that have watched it for years. You have to remember you can get them out in the strike zone, and that's why they gave you the ball and you got the chance that you're up here.
Here's Adam Dunn, 0 for 3. Ross, unlike Jones is 26 years of age. Robbie Ross is only 22 right now. Drafted out of high school, second round pick back in 2008 from Lexington, Kentucky. Probably enjoyed the NCAA tournament. Pop up to third. One down. The MLB Fan Cave is back. This year, 9 cave dwellers will compete to remain in the cave until the final pitch of the World Series. Some of baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFancave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter, and you can like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. Not quite a fan cave, but a kid's zone here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington.
There's a game going on.
Here's Konerko. Konerko tonight, a ground out, has reached on a fielder's choice and has had a base hit.
And you got to believe Ron Washington would love for this kid to get through this inning without having to get one of his right-handers up.
And he doesn't want to use Agondo, Adams, and Nathan if he can help it. And now we've got a balk called on Ross, or did we?
It's called timeout.
Was it time or was it balk? It was time.
Yeah, they called time.
Ron Washington almost pulled a hamstring coming out of there.
The first base umpire, Brian Knight, I think thought Mark Wegner signaled balk, but Mark Wegner, watch the left hand or the right hand come up. He signals time. I think Paul Konerko's waving a bug out of his face, and maybe they thought he was shooing him over to second base, the runner.
There wasn't a butterfly coming out of Ross's stomach.
Brian Knight did signal balk. Yeah. But they had timeout first.
Yeah. I think he thought he saw something from either the other umpire, the home plate umpire, that he just misread. 2-1 the count.
This is not the easiest first inning in your life in the big leagues. Beckham, Dunn, Konerko, Rios.
Two and two. Got it. Strikes out Paul Konerko for his first major league strikeout. Pretty good. Nate Jones can say I struck out Josh Hamilton, and Robbie Ross can say I struck out Paul Konerko.
This ball right here in slow motion is going to be in the trophy case because they threw it to the dugout after Konerko swung and missed. Congratulations, young man.
Now Alex Rios chases down low, 0-1. Rios tonight, a ground out and a couple of walks. Chopper to short. Close play, but out at second, and that will end the inning. Ross with a shutout inning, including a strikeout of Paul Konerko in his major league debut. Sox in this season opening series well on their way, leading 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Robbie Ross celebrating his first major league inning, a shutout inning, got a souvenir baseball, got a standing ovation from the fans above the Rangers dugout. Now he can exhale deeply, sit down in the dugout and watch his hitters go to work. New pitcher for the White Sox. Not a major league debut. We've got a veteran out there in Jesse Crain. Broke in with the Twins in 2004. Was with them through 2010 and a very good year for the White Sox last year. A 2.62 ERA in 67 appearances. Adrian Beltre, who's already homered tonight, leads it off for Texas. Robbie Ross, fresh off his first big league appearance. What do you do when you're big man on campus? Well, you just sidle up to the best player you can find, because you're in that club now, right? That's me and Josh.
They still might make him go out in the bullpen and bring the pink backpack in. Yeah, that mohawk. I wonder if that's part of the hazing.
Beltre with a big night. A good defensive play, a couple of hits, including a home run. Skies it back of third. And the shortstop Ramirez is there for out number 1. Coming up next here on ESPN, stay tuned for Sports Center. Some of the big stories. Bubba Watson with his first career majors. He wins at Augusta. Derrick Rose returns for the Bulls, but they lose in overtime in New York. And the Red Sox and Yankees both lose again today. Both teams are 0-3. That's the first time that has happened since 1966. Sunday Conversation will be with Bubba Watson on Sports Center tonight. So stay tuned. A big Sports Center coming your way. Here's Michael Young, 0 for 3. To right field. Maybe just a little bit off the end of the bat as Rios catches up with it, 2 down.
Nice to see those left-handed golfers have a little success.
Are you one of them?
You better believe it.
Our producer Tom Archer said you shouldn't be allowed to play.
He's seen me swing. There's a lot of things I shouldn't be able to do.
2 down, nobody on. 5-0 Texas. Bottom 8. Nelson Cruz 0 for 3. Breaking ball for a strike. Well, with just a few days gone in the Major League season, I think the biggest trend we've probably seen is outstanding performances by starting pitchers. We have seen a lot of them. It seems almost every day a pitcher or two is going into the 6th inning or 7th inning with a no-hitter. Seen a lot of 9th inning blow-ups, though. A lot of blown saves early, but the starters are off to a great run this year.
You know, a lot of times it's when it's real cold, but the weather's been beautiful.
Yeah.
But we've seen some great pitching.
Getting all kinds of tweets on what a heavy ball is.
You know, I was wondering why we hadn't heard from you in about 10
more
minutes.
Backspin, less backspin, more reverberation in the glove because you can't get in the pocket because of the movement. Backspin makes the ball feel lighter.
I got one that said the harder you squeeze the ball,
more pressure on the ball.
I don't know.
A later release point, I like that one because a ball thrown 90 miles an hour closer to you is going to hit your glove harder because it's coming from a shorter distance, so it doesn't decel as much.
You buying any of them?
I'm just kind of speed reading, so I haven't really read everybody's explanation, but I think we're going to have a subject to talk about.
Mine says, "Stop talking, moron."
3-2. Well, go to work, Bulldog. Come back with something next week.
We're going to have to do it. Yep. Yeah. I've got baseball tonight on Friday, too. Going to fill in for one of the guys. Needs a day off. Well, we're in New York and then Boston. On Friday, I'll be in Bristol.
Well, what a good sign just looking into that Texas dugout. Now, he's had a great night. But what a good sign it is. What a good thing it is just to see Josh Hamilton laughing and smiling and enjoying himself with all that he's been through. But, you know, Ron Washington said, we asked him, you know, what Hamilton was like, and he said as soon as they left Arizona, it all clicked in. Started using the whole field. The smile came back, and
he was wailing and bailing all spring.
That's right.
And then he got a home run in the last game of the spring, and he's been locked in ever since.
Cruz is gone, and the inning is over. To the 9th in Arlington, 5-0 Rangers. Following the conclusion of our game, and we go to the top of the ninth here in Arlington. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. The Rangers up 5-0 on the White Sox. 3 home runs tonight. Murphy, Beltre, Hamilton, Harrison, 6 shutout innings. Lowe the 7th, Ross the 8th, and now Koji Uehara into the game in the 9th inning for Texas. Picked up last year from Baltimore. He was outstanding for the Orioles. These are his combined numbers from last year. He didn't pitch as well with the Rangers in Oral. He hardly pitched at all in the playoffs. Made 1 appearance in the division series, 1 in the LCS, or 2 in the LCS, I should say. Didn't pitch well in any of them.
Now he's working his way back into the good graces of management here for sure, and he wants to put up some good numbers early to gain confidence from Ron Washington.
Ball 1 to A.J. Pierzynski.
You look at that opponent's batting average last year, 164. That's versus lefties and righties. He commanded the baseball when he was in Baltimore so well, and then for whatever reason he got over here and didn't.
Pierzynski with a fly ball to right field. 1 down. Time now for tonight's Chevrolet Player of the Game. And Josh Hamilton gets it tonight. A towering home run, measured at 441 feet, and a spectacular diving catch in deep left center field. It's been a good night for Hamilton, and a good night for the Rangers thus far. They're 2 outs away from beating the White Sox tonight. Kosuke Fukudome comes up as a pinch hitter against Uehara. Fukudome batting for Alexi Ramirez. And he slaps one the other way for a base hit.
It's a nice professional bat to have. I'll tell you what, I love the way he grinds out at bats. His approach.
He came to the major leagues with such high expectations. He's starting to travel a little bit, but he can hit.
Yeah.
He just may not hit for the power that you're looking for out of that center field or corner position, or steal enough bases. But he can certainly be a good 4th outfielder on a good team.
Here's Diane Viciedo, 1 for 3. Terry, if you're Ron Washington right now, you went into this game saying, I don't want to use Adams, Agondo, or Nathan, but I still want to win the game, and it's working out pretty well for him so far.
Yeah, if he can get out of this without having those guys throw, getting the win's number 1. But if you can do it without getting those guys to throw, that's even a bigger plus.
They both pitch. All 3 of them pitched each of the last 2 days, and no off day tomorrow. Texas is home. Scott Feldman up just in case. Texas is home tomorrow night to Seattle. Darvish will make the start for the Rangers, his regular season debut. Viciedo late there, and it's 1-2.
You talked about Uehara losing his location last year. That's one of the things that goes other than velocity when you start to fatigue a little bit. He might have just hit a wall. If you're having a good year, you get used a lot.
Got him.
He's running it up there 87, 88, sometimes 89, and he can get more swings and misses up in the zone.
Yeah, he hides the ball very well when he gets it out of his glove. You don't really get to see it as a hitter until it's coming out from behind his head.
So the Rangers are out away. The batter, Alejandro Eduardo Escobar, the batter for the White Sox. Runner goes and will take second on defensive indifference. Matt Harrison with 6 shutout innings tonight. Gave up 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 3. Rangers played some defense, hit for power. Out in front of the plate. Ball game. Five to nothing. Texas beats the White Sox tonight. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Oral Hershiser, Terry Francona, and Buster Olney, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and so long from Arlington, Texas.